our hosts today. There we go. Rebecca and Terry. Rebecca and Terry, you both there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, cool. All right. So, very glad you guys can make it today. I thank you for coming. We will, like I said, we're recording this because there are a lot of people who did want to take part, but when you work with students and people all across the country, obviously it's hard to reach everybody at one time that works. So, um, they'll get a look at it later on. So, why don't we start? There will also be a lot of what I call newbies, watching this. A lot of people who are still on manual steno machine, the old olive green machine, and they don't even know what CAT software is. So why don't we start with that? Why can you explain a little bit what CAT software is, what it does, how it's kind of grown?
Mary or Rebecca?
Whichever one of you would
Um,
like.
I can take that one.
okay, I can start with that, Terry, if you want me to.
That's fine. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, CAT software essentially is a software that does the translation for you. It translates what you're writing in steno into English. Terry, do you want to build on that at all, or?
Sure. It gives you the capability to take that steno file from the machine, translate it, edit it, and produce it, print it, create ASCIIs, create PDFs, just about anything that your client or the agency or the court system that you work for requires in today's world to produce transcripts in an efficient, fast way. Um, where it's different than a word processor is it is designed to be very, very specific for court reporters because your formats and layouts are so different than a normal uh, traditional type document. A legal document requires so much more. And in today's world, what they're requiring from court reporters is more than they've ever required, such as real time and the ability to hook up to attorneys and the ability to do remote proceedings using things like the cloud. And I mean, the list goes on and on and on as to what you can actually use court reporting software to do in today's world. So it goes way beyond the legal market as well.
And it seems like these are basic questions, but obviously, if you're using a manual steno machine, you would need to upgrade in order to use CAT software.
Yes, your writer would need to be able to be connected to a computer, either by serial port or by USB, or of course, like via Bluetooth. A lot of the things that I'm going to say, which is Rebecca, I'm geared more towards student equipment, whereas Terry works with the professional equipment, so a lot of times her answers are a little more involved.
Do you guys, and I know it's kind of split on this, different ideas, different things, whatever, but do you suggest CAT software at a beginning stage, a middle stage, different for everybody? Any preferences?
I think the sooner you start learning a CAT software, the more beneficial it is to you as a student. There's so many aspects of it, and to get yourself used to writing with it is definitely a benefit.
My experience that many students and many schools that I work with will recommend that students start working with a CAT software after they've finished theory. So they'll get through theory. They're usually, I think, about 60 words a minute when they finish theory. And that's a lot of times when a student will invest in software. Their theory is solid in their mind. So using a software in a dictionary makes more sense than it does sooner.
Okay.
There are different versions of the CAT software, correct? Not just the student and pro version, but also are there different versions for, let's say, CART as opposed to captioning, things like that?
We basically have three versions of Case Catalyst: student version, professional version, and then we have a version that is for captioners. Um, the basic professional CAT software does come with a limited captioning software, and that's usually the one that CART reporters use as well. Sometimes you'll have a CART reporter using a student version, but very, very rarely. That's usually in a school environment type thing.
What are the limitations between, or differences, I should say, between the student and the professional version?
The student software is going to have, for starters, it's going to have a student header and footer on any page that you print. It's also going to have limited editing capabilities because the teachers want to see mistakes that you made, because that's how the teacher can help students improve their writing.
Okay. Go ahead, Terry. Oh, for some reason you got muted, Terry. Hold on one sec. Go ahead. Try.
There's 50-page limitation on the student version in the editor or in one transcript at one time. It also does not have audio synchronization, but I think most of the editing functionality is there.
Okay, cool. Let's talk specifically about your software. What is it about your software that you feel differentiates itself? Glenn just mentioned your audio, Terry, and it seems it's funny. It starts almost muted, and then it kind of builds as it goes. I have no explanation for that, but just kind of keep that in mind. I don't know, just stay close to your microphone. I don't know why it's doing that, but
Okay, I got a little closer to the computer. Is that any better?
yeah, that sounds good.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, can we talk about the differences between case software? What you think makes it stand apart?
Well, I think I want to start with the company itself. Stenograph's been around for 75 years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Everything we do as far as programming is done in-house with programmers that have a combined um, years experience with us of over 90 years. So our programmers and developers are so in tune with what court reporters do on a daily basis to produce transcripts. And the features that get put into our software are building blocks. They're not patches. They're not going out to the internet and hiring programmers to build a particular feature. So all our software is cohesive, and when you learn one area, it's the same in the next area because it's built by the same developers every time. And typically, when we add, when a new release comes out, it's new features. It's not rewriting the software, changing it so you have a huge learning curve. It's wonderful, great new features that you can take advantage of. So it makes it very simple for people to understand and use Case Catalyst. Um, I think there's a reason Stenograph's been around for over 75 years. They build amazing writers and they build amazing software. And while our writers work with every CAT software out there, there will always be features in our Case Catalyst that work better with our writers and features in our writers that work better with Case Catalyst, of course, because we build them both. I think Case Catalyst 15, which is the release I'm going to show you today, has some amazing features in it that will take you into your court reporting career, as well as help you to pass tests while you're there in school and make producing a transcript so much easier. And those are the features that could keep you there for days, showing you what Case Catalyst does. But I think those are the features I'm going to hone in on today to kind of give you an idea of what the software is all about. So I can start that now if you'd like me to, or if there's more questions you want to ask up front.
Raise your hand or raise your flag if you have a question before we go into that. We're good. All right, so why don't you jump into it? Let's see what it does.
Okay, so I'm doing the share screen thing. So we'll see what, oh, you know what? I think I want to stop my video. I think that I can get back there. Stop my video. I think that makes it
Okay.
less jumpy, a little bit better.
There we go.
Okay, so can everybody see my screen? Okay?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. What you're looking at right here is what we call managed jobs in the main menu of Case Catalyst. I love our managed jobs. Again, this is another area that I could spend days in showing you how you're going to access your transcripts day in and day out. And I do want to spend just a few minutes here showing you some key things. What you're looking at is what we refer to as icon view. As you can tell from my picture, I'm old and I like pictures. I like things that are big and that are easy for me to see. But if you prefer a list view, you can change the view of however you like to manage and look at your transcript and be able to access them on a day in and day out basis. Another reason why I like icon view is all the pretty colors that are there. And believe it or not, those pretty colors actually mean something. We give you a basic idea of what we think they mean and how most of our reporters use them, but actually the colors can mean anything you want to help you better manage the transcripts that you have on your system. For an example, anything that is in yellow are typically, these file folders here are typically transcripts that I have read in from my writer, but I haven't translated them at all. I haven't done anything to them. Anything in pink is typically a transcript that I have done in real time, started it in real time, and possibly started editing it. These are all automatic. They will change to those colors automatic. I'll tell you when a color isn't automatic that you actually pick. Anything in blue is final. When I've exited the transcript for the last time and I've actually completed it, I select final and it'll automatically turn it blue. Anything that is green is a transcript that I actually created an ASCII on. I'm in California, and many times an agency, when you send the transcript into them, require an ASCII. So at a glance, I know this transcript most likely has been sent off to my agency because it's in green and I created an ASCII from it. Anything brown is a transcript I've printed. You can also set up due dates. The system will automatically, you can tell the system to automatically, any transcript that I either read on or do in real time, I want it due 2 weeks from the date that I put it in. 3 days before that due date, it'll automatically turn it red. So if you haven't started on that transcript, you kind of got a big blinking signal at yourself that you better get going on it. Black is another color that you would change to, and that is done. So maybe you back up your system and store it up on the cloud. You send it into your agency, and when that is all completed, you turn it black before you delete it off. I had a very inventive reporter tell me that she was going to use the red and black, the red for when she billed a client and the black for when they paid her. So again, at a glance, I can tell what state of completion my transcripts are in. The other thing I absolutely love and my reporters love about Case Catalyst Managed Job is briefcases. You will see these briefcases up here. Think of a briefcase as a filing cabinet drawer. It gives you the capability and the flexibility to organize your transcripts in just about any way you want. If you work for multiple agencies, you can create a briefcase for the agencies you work for, and all the transcripts you do for that particular agency are in your briefcase. If you work from court to depot, you can create a briefcase for court and one for depot. You can create one for the year that you're in. I have one here for 2013, and in there I have each month of the year. So all the jobs I did in January are in January, and so on. It gives you the capability to set your system up in your managed job in any way that you like that keeps you better organized. At the end of each month, I can burn a CD for January, February, and March. At the end of the year, I can burn one CD for the entire year. And when I'm ready to delete 2013 off, I pick one briefcase and delete the entire year off. Instead of having 50 million little file folders all over my screen trying to figure out which ones are done, which ones are ready to go, which ones have been backed up, which ones am I ready to delete off, I can organize myself so simply and so easily to make sure that I'm not missing anything. So the flexibility in our managed jobs is amazing. The other thing I love is it's incredibly easy to misplace a transcript or have to instantly find out information. I had a reporter tell me that her judge at a break said, "The attorney that's before us today has been here about 6 months ago, but I can't remember what he brought before us, and I really need to know that. Can you find that out by any chance? Well, keep in mind that was 6 months ago. So all she did was go up here to search file content. And you can type in, you can search a dictionary, you can search a transcript. If you only know the attorney's name, if you only know something pertaining in the deposition or the court case you were doing. In this case, I happen to know the guy's name is Barry, and I happen to know I have a lot of transcripts on here with the name Barry on it. So I'm going to simply search for Barry, hit enter, and it brings up my dialog box over here instantly. I have a John Barry in here. I have a Jesse Barry. I have all kinds of Barrys in here. But I can pick one. Here's a 1,400-page transcript. I can double click on this. It instantly opens the transcript and takes me right there to the caption page. Or if I was looking for a particular gun or whatever it may be, it would take me to that page instantly. So in a matter of minutes before the break was over, this reporter had all the information that the judge needed, and the judge was blown away because on many systems you can't do that. So instantly I can type in any word I want and instantly be able to find where it's at and open it up. And that's search file content. That's another powerful tool in our arsenal when it comes to managing your transcripts. Before I move on from here, the other question that I get asked a lot is how am I going to learn how Case Catalyst works? And we have a number of different ways based on your different personalities. The first one I always have my students start with, or customers I'm working with, is our integrated video training. So in here I have essential skills and all of the videos that go along with that. So here's one on read notes. How do I take notes from my writer and read them into Case Catalyst? And there are 3 lessons for reading notes. So I'm just going to pick one here and just play a little bit of it for you.
The Read Notes function enables you to copy steno notes from your writer to your computer's hard drive. To begin read, click the Read Notes icon on the function bar. The Read Setup dialog box appears the first time you use Read Notes. You will select your writer and the method you use to communicate with your computer. Unless you use different writers or different methods, you will only need to select these items once. Click the down arrow at the end of the device field to display the list of writers. You will select your writer from this list. For example, if you use a Diamante writer, you will select Diamante. Next, you will select the method to transfer your notes from the writer to the computer. The methods listed will vary depending on the options available for your writer. For example, let's leave the SD card in the Diamante and read the contents of the card via the USB cable. We'll select USB as the method.
I'm going to go ahead and stop that, but I wanted to give you kind of an idea of what our video training was like. In addition to the video training, up under Help, there are study guides. So if you prefer something printed, or maybe you like the videos, but you also want something printed, you then can pick a self-study guide and print that out and have step-by-step instructions as well. Along with the integrated video training, they send along sample files that go along with the training. So again, you don't have to use your own stuff. You can use the sample files to learn everything you need to know about Case Catalyst. Any questions on that so far?
Yeah, let me unmute Glenn real quick.
Okay.
Go ahead, Glenn.
Well, I was wondering if the find feature can be used while you were actively translating a job, or do you have to stop the translation, or how does that work?
It can be used anytime. I actually have a transcript open right here, so I can toggle back and forth. I can search. I can do whatever I want and have real time open. Have another transcript open that I'm looking at. I can pretty much do anything I want.
Sounds good.
Great question. Okay. I am going to move into a document, and again, see our tabs right up here because I have this one open. I've started it translating. Go away. Let's see, hold on just a second. Didn't mean to do that. And I want to again talk about some really great new things that are in Case Catalyst 15. Two of these features that I'm going to talk about, you may, but you may not use them while you're in school. You will definitely use them once you're out of school. But I think they're very powerful, and I think they will give you a feeling of what you can grow into with Case Catalyst. And then the other two that I want to focus in on, I feel will benefit you greatly while you're in school and help you to produce tests and pass tests a lot faster and a lot easier. Couple of things up here. It might be hiding behind the screen up here, so I'm going to pull these down a little bit. This is our virtual seating chart. If you're using easy speakers, you can identify who your speakers are before you start translation, before you start a real-time job, or before you tran a job, or even after you started editing a transcript. You can pretty much identify them anytime. I identified them before I started this little job. So SDPHAO is speaker 1 for me, and his name is Mr. Jones, and SKWRAO is speaker 2, and that's Mr. Smith. And then we had Judge Jackson, and they used Jack to identify Judge Jackson. And I have a virtual seating chart, and I can move these people wherever I want. So if they're on the left side of me, right side of me, or if they move at lunchtime, I can move them around the screen. I can make those go away or bring them back. I like them up all the time, so if Judge Jackson doesn't talk for 3 hours, I can quickly look up there and see what stroke I actually assigned to him. So I like the virtual seating chart a lot. I always love stories, and I had a reporter, when I showed her this feature, almost broke into tears. She had done a deposition of 10 attorneys about a week prior. And what a lot of reporters will do is take the attorney's business cards and just strategically put them around their computer based if they're sitting on the left side or the right side. And many times they'll make notes as to what stroke they used for that particular attorney, because again, she's dealing with 10 attorneys. And just before the proceedings start, a paralegal came in and threw a bunch of files on the table, and her business cards went poof all over, and there was no time to set them back up again. When she saw the virtual seating chart, she was thrilled because that solves that kind of issue of having, garbage all over the desk around you trying to figure out who's who. I'm not sure how many of you are into briefing yet. If you're brand new and still learning theory, I imagine you're not briefing at all. For those of you that have gone through theory and are maybe getting ready to take your state test or whatever, briefing may be something really important to you. Brief It is wonderful in Case Catalyst. We have had it for quite some time, but our amazing programmers keep making it better and better. So on my right hand of my screen, you will see a panel for Brief It. And I'll explain some of this as we go, but I'm going to go ahead and start my translation. I'm going to start and stop this as we go. Because I identified Mr. Jones ahead of time, he popped up there in red. You're going to see some automatic number conversion. So here we have a street address, Chicago, Illinois, with a zip code. The system does not care how you write your numbers. You can stroke them out. You can use the number bar, or you can use a combination, which is what this reporter will do. We can get 80 to 90% of your numbers to come out perfect without you doing a thing or changing your writing. All we need is 0 through 99 in your dictionary to take advantage of automatic number conversion. So what you see here is White Pine Street automatically capped, Chicago, Illinois, and the zip code automatically converted to a zip code, Social Security number automatically formatted to the right format. So, and you're going to see more and more illustrations of that as we go through this transcript. I want to draw your attention.
Would it automatically recognize 9 numbers is probably going to be a Social Security number?
Correct, but it's keying off the words around it.
Right.
Because there are many other things like tax ID numbers that are 9-digit numbers as well, but require a different format. So it will key off the words around it. Okay?
Mhm.
I want to draw your attention back to Brief It because I want to start explaining what's happening. Brief It, again, is one of those tools that has so many aspects to it. The first one, and probably the one that students like the most, is reminder briefs. If you have a brief in your dictionary that you did not use today, like state your name, they wrote state your name, and if I were to put this up here, you'll see my steno over here below Brief It. They wrote it out today. And the system says, oh, hello, you have this brief already in your dictionary, but you didn't use it, so I'm going to remind you about it. And that's what this green is over here. It's reminding you that this is the brief that you have in your dictionary so that you can start using it, getting used to using it. Because that's the complaint I get a lot from students is they get all these great briefs, but they can't remember. They put them in their dictionary, but they can't remember to use them. So Brief It will remind you. The same with Chicago, Illinois. This reporter has a brief for Chicago, Illinois, but didn't use it, so Brief It reminded her. The other aspect of Brief It is any three-stroke word that you write more than twice, it'll automatically give you a suggested brief for it. Anything you finger spell, the system will automatically give you a brief for. And you can have your own personal briefs. And I'll briefly show you that. If I click on here and go to personal briefs, here's all my personal briefs. So let's say you go through the JCR magazine and you find 3 pages of medical briefs that you would love to use. You have no idea if they will conflict with anything in your dictionary or how you're going to remember them. You come into your personal briefs and you simply insert the word or phrase and the stroke you want to use and then forget about it. Because what's going to happen is if that phrase or stroke, if that phrase or word comes up in a transcript, Brief It is automatically going to search the dictionaries you're using to make sure it doesn't conflict with anything and bring the brief up in Brief It in the Brief It pane so that you see it kind of like a reminder brief and you can start using it. If I use a brief, those words show up in my transcript and they automatically get added to my dictionary. So personal briefs are wonderful in that you don't have to worry about them. Brief It's going to take care of them. And I hope that makes sense. So let's go on and you'll see more of what Brief It will do for you. So they're
Real quick,
talking
let
about,
me just interject. If anybody has questions, you can type it in the group chat pane or raise your flag or just unmute yourself and ask.
and keep in mind I'm not seeing any of that. I don't see the group flag and I don't see the chat. So I'm relying on Mark to relay it to me that
Yep,
there has been
I
a
will.
question.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so they're talking about a conglomerate, what they're going to say here. So I'm going to, you'll notice that there's a misstroke here. So that could, and then the untranslate and rat should be conglomerate. This is one of the new features in Case Catalyst 15, and it's handled over in the Brief It pane, and it's called Live Suggest. And what's going to happen here is over in the Brief It pane, you're going to get 3 suggestions of what they think this untranslate, what Case Catalyst thinks this untranslate is. So watch this happen. I'll go ahead and make this go. Maybe go big. Okay, and I stopped it again. So over in the Brief It pane, you will see a stroke for conglomerate, for glom and gloom. All right, so and it says 1, 2, or 3. What the reporter is going to do, and this is time permitting, because as a student, many of you are holding on for dear life and can't imagine doing any editing from your steno machine. But in the real world of court reporting, there are many times, especially if you're doing a video deposition or a workman's comp or some kind of slower paced proceedings, there are many times when you could write a book by the time this person gets the thought out. So that's when you take advantage of actually keeping your hands right on your steno machine and being able to actually correct your transcript. Right now, you may not be able to imagine you can do that, but trust me, you can. So what the reporter is going to do is maybe this person slowed down or took a deep breath, she sees that number 1 is conglomerate, she's going to hit 1R and actually fix this. It's going to happen fast, so here we go. And she just did it. So if I were to look over here in my steno, see if I can find it. Should be real, there it is, 1R. So what she did, time permitting, she hit 1R. It instantly went back and fixed conglomerate, and over here in brief it told you which one she picked. You can hit 1D and it'll actually put it in your dictionary. 1R just simply replaces this occurrence only. So you have flexibility there as well to correct anything on the fly that's an untranslate. And that particular new feature is called Live Suggest. Any questions on that? I hope you're getting excited about it. And I'm going to show you how that actually works during editing as well. So off we go. Now here they're going to mistrans skid, and again over in the brief it pane, skid will actually show up. She's actually going to fix this in a little bit different way, but I wanted it in here anyway to show you again how that quick suggest works. They're finger spelling something here. Remember I told you brief it would also give you a brief for anything you finger spelled, so you didn't have to finger spell it every time. And there it did for SSBTC Bank. What she did there was she actually hit a stroke to go back and cap. So again, this is another one of those editing things. So here's the stroke she used. And it went back and capped State Street Bank and Trust, so she didn't have to do that later. What you have coming up next is some more automatic number conversion. Again, I don't care how you write your numbers. It'll automatically convert that to a time. And we've got some other cool artificial intelligence or intelligent things coming up. You'll see the word claiming and lax here. So what this is this is a feature called suffix drag. And I just put my cursor on claiming, and you can see they wrote this all in one stroke. This particular reporter normally writes claiming in 2 strokes, claim coming back for the G. So it's not in her dictionary as 1 stroke. She drug that G in there today because she was writing so fast. She got that G in there. That normally would cause an untranslate. This particular feature has to do with S, D, or G endings that you drag into a stroke. So the computer said, or CaseCal software thought to itself, okay, I can see you wrote the word claim. You drug the G in there. I think you mean claiming. I'm going to go ahead and trans the word for you, put it in a different color, notifying you that I changed it. If the word is correct, you don't have to do a thing to it. If the word is incorrect, you would have had to done a dictionary entry on it anyway. Notice over here in the brief it pane, claiming came up in Live Suggest because claiming would have been an untranslate. So we have 2 features working together simultaneously to make sure you've got the best possible transcript you can and the cleanest one you can. So Live Suggest gave us claiming, but also suffix drag tranned it for it. That was the same situation with lax over here. Normally they write lax coming back for the S. Today they wrote it in 1 stroke. So suffix drag fixed it for them automatically.
Terry, one sec. Question from Glenn. Can you select which steno to use for Live Suggest?
Live Suggest is based on your dictionary and other criteria as well. So yes, your steno can be anything. Sometimes it's not going to figure it out because it's so far off, but it is very intuitive and very good as to what it looks, what it comes up with as to what it thinks it is. Does that make sense?
Glenn, does that make sense?
Almost. What I was asking was to select which of the 3 options or whatever it was. Do you have to use like the number bar, or how's that work?
Oh, yes, I now understand what you're saying. Absolutely, it can be any stroke you want to make up. It's a dictionary entry with a command. So right now, when we send Case Catalyst out, we send it out with 1R, 2R, 3R, or 1D, 2, 3, 2D, 3D, but you can change that stroke to whatever you want.
Sounds good.
Okay, good question. All right, so off we go again. Here we're talking about nabumetone. So this is another one of those words that three-stroke word, you write more than twice, it'll give you a brief for it. But you can also, I'm going to stop this real quick before it comes up, you can also force briefs. So they're going to talk neurotoxicity, and this reporter does not want to wait for neurotoxicity to come out 2 more times before she gets a brief. She's going to hit a stroke that's actually going to force a brief. So here we go. Here's neurotoxicity. She hits her stroke, and I'll show you what stroke she used. But again, great question. It can be any stroke you want. That's the stroke she used right there that's grayed out. To force neurotoxicity for brief it to give her a brief. So you can force your own briefs. You can also tell the system if you don't like a brief, you can reject a brief and have it give you another one with the stroke. You can also tell it what kind of strokes, like if I don't ever want an asterisk in a brief it stroke, I can tell the system that I never want an asterisk. So you control how brief it works for you. And off we go.
And Joanne just asked, is this all in the newest version of Case that can be downloaded now? And Lisa answered yes.
The answer is yes.
Yes.
You can have it right now. Here's nabumetone again. They're going to say it one more time, and then brief it will give you a brief for it. Couldn't find good old nabumetone, and boopity boop, there comes our brief. All right, stop one, go. Now here's an untranslate. Again, Live Suggest will give us the solution for that, but we're not going to fix it because I want to show you how you fix that while you're editing. Here comes, they're going to fingerspell Kurkowski. Definitely don't want to write that sucker again. So brief, it's going to give you a brief for it because you fingerspelled it. And if you use it, it will come into the transcript. Kurkowski. Sorry, it stopped. Go. So there's our brief for it. Here's some more automatic number conversion. How tall was this guy? He's 5'6". Write it like they say it. It will convert. 5'7". Write it like they say it. It will, if it keeps going, convert. His blood alcohol level was 1.3. It'll automatically convert. What type of gun did he use? .45 caliber. Again, it put the point in there. Going. I'm referring to Article 6. It will automatically change to Roman numeral. Here comes Judge Jackson. What time did you close that night? Trying on close. Here's an example of how our artificial intelligence works with conflicts. Conflicts, I don't know how many conflicts you guys have in your writing in today's world, but conflicts really are not an issue with CAT software anymore. And how our Case Catalyst conflict resolution works is as you're editing through a transcript and you select the conflict, that conflict and the text around it is instantly stored in a database. So the next time that sentence structure comes up, it automatically picks the correct conflict for you. So eventually you will be conflict-free without ever changing your writing or doing another dictionary entry by using Case Catalyst, just simply editing, and it takes care of your conflicts. Now I have my cursor on the conflict close. And if you look at that, hopefully you can see it in the lower right-hand corner. You'll see the original conflict. And we do that because you've been editing for hours and hours and hours, and you accidentally pick the wrong conflict. So it's in your database. Well, I can instantly fix that. So I come up, and we're pretending here, but let's pretend CLOSE is the wrong conflict. I see with the original one, if I pick 2 right now, that's instantly fixed in my transcript and my database is fixed. Now I know that's wrong, but my next demonstration, I'll change it back the other way. Not all CAT systems are alike. Not all CAT systems work that way. There are some out there that once you pick a conflict, you're stuck with that. The only way to fix it is to do dictionary entries because it will come up with the wrong conflict every time. Ours isn't that way. I can fix it if I make a mistake. Again, hope that makes sense to everybody.
Terry, is this also available within the student version or just
Yes,
the?
yes, it is. It is available in the student. Everything I'm showing you is available in the student version. Okay, off we go. We've got some more numbers, I believe. Yep, we're talking about estimates. So here comes dollars, the nemesis of everybody. They're going to mark an exhibit. You'll notice exhibit 4, when they hit the number 4, exhibit automatically capped for them. The estimated damage was, write it like they say it, $7,500. It will convert. They're going to say it again, $7,530. It will convert. One more time. It was $7,529.21. Write it like they say it. It will convert. So dollars and cents. Again, all I need in your dictionary is 0 through 99, and your dollars and cents and numbers like that will come out perfectly. You'll notice the blurb at the bottom. That is a field that automatically picked up the time on my particular computer, so I didn't have to worry about inserting the end time. Those are fields. So now, here are 2 features that I feel will really help you out in school to produce transcripts faster and easier. And the next one I want to show you is what is called Quick Suggest. So you see I have an untranslate there, that's friends, and all I'm hitting it for me is my G key that will go to the next untran or conflict, whatever comes first. And it pulls up the Quick Suggest dialog box. And so I see in the Quick Suggest dialog box, you see it's giving me 6 different things that it thinks that might be. Well, I just need friend because the apostrophe S is already there. So all I have to do on my keyboard is hit number 2 to go to friend. Now I need to make the decision of where I want this to go. Do I want it in my personal dictionary? And for case catalyst, that is called the D define. Do I want it in the job dictionary, the case dictionary? Do I just want to replace this occurrence and not put it in any dictionary? And then you'll see one more button called More. If for some reason the stroke or the words are not there that I need, I'm simply going to hit M for More, and my normal dictionary entry dialog box will come up, and all I do is type in the word like I always would, and off I go. But if in Quick Suggest the word is there, I simply pick the number, and then where do I want it to go? In my case, I'm going to put it in the job dictionary, so I'm simply going to hit J, and the word is fixed. So Quick Suggest can make doing dictionary entries, and as a student, building your dictionary and making it cleaner and cleaner and better, way faster than typing those things over and over again. Again, hope that makes sense. I'm going to go down to my other untranslate that I happen to have, which is question. And again, I'm simply going to go to Quick Suggest. This case, it's number 1, and number 1 is already highlighted, so I don't even have to pick number 1. All I have to do is select what dictionary I want it in, so I'm simply hitting J, and questions is fixed. That's one of the cool new features in Case Catalyst 15. And all of these features that I've told you about, it's simply turning them on. And with the live suggest putting the stroke I want to use in my dictionary, so I can do it from the Steno machine. But Quick Suggest, what I just showed you, is simply turning it on, and it works every time from that point on. Any questions on Quick Suggest before I move on? I hope you all like it. The other feature that we've actually had in our software for a while now
Hold on,
is
I'm
called.
sorry. Hold on one second.
1 second.
So Victoria had a question.
Okay.
Let's see. Hold on, let me see if I can. There we go. I'm gonna unmute her. Victoria, you there? Victoria, you can speak. You there? Do you want to ask the question, Victoria?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. I'm a scopist. Is quick suggest something that I can use on my end on the mistrans that come through when I have the transcript sent to me?
Absolutely 100% yes. It will
Woo!
it will it will speed up your editing like you cannot believe. You're going to love it. Simply turn it on.
I'm gonna do that.
Good, good. And it works with your scan key. If you're just going to a word and hitting a key to do a define or whatever, quick suggest doesn't come up. I mean, I think there is this quick suggest in the dialog box that you can have turn on, but it's mainly for when you're scanning. Is that little cute box comes up that I just showed you. Hope that makes sense. Okay, the other feature I want to show you is Mistron Minder. Mistron Minder was actually in our release, I believe, either 13 or 14. So we've had it for a while, but we got great feedback from our reporters using this day in and day out. And so they have enhanced it and made it even better in Case Catalyst 15. How this works, and I know you can all give me words. Mistron Minder has to do with words that in strokes that you write that tran perfectly, but they're the wrong words, like your. That's one of mine. So Y-O-U-R and Y-O-U apostrophe, the U-R type thing. You write it right, but you wrote the wrong word. And when you're editing, you're simply missing those things. And it can mean the difference between passing a test and not passing a test. So you know what your words are, and how you do this is as you're editing through a transcript. If you come across one of those words that you're really struggling with, all you do is put your cursor on it, right click, and down here at the bottom it says send to Mistron Minder list. That's all you have to do. So those common words that you mistran, the yours, the theirs, the effects, affects. It may be words that aren't even related. You just hit that stupid stroke and that word comes in and you're editing and you miss it and then you got it wrong. All you have to do is add those to your Mistron Minder list and then again, forget about it. Now, once I've built my list and I have my words in there that give me trouble, before I start editing a transcript, after I start edited that transcript, I suggest you do it after you've done everything to this transcript and you're ready to send it off or turn it in as a test. You simply run Mistron Minder. So up here, I put a button on my toolbar so it makes it easy for me, and I simply click on that button. And over here is my search pane, and there's all my yours in this transcript because that's all I have in my Mistron Minder list right now. What they did in Case Catalyst 15 to enhance this is they underlined the word that you're looking for. So here's all my yours, and I can quickly just scan down this thing to make sure I haven't missed anything. Oh my gosh, I sure did. I don't think that looks too terribly right. And I double click on that. It takes me right there in the transcript so I can fix it. So in a matter of seconds, I can have a list of all those common words that I mistran and instantly be able to get to it and fix it in my transcript before I turn that test in. Again, does that make sense to everybody? I love that feature. Every time I show it to students, every one of them can relate to it. They relate to a test that they haven't passed because of words like that they've missed. Every reporter and Scopus can relate to it because they've stared at this transcript for so long and you're quickly trying to proof it, you're going to miss that your dispute. It's just easy to do. One other thing that I think I'm going to go into for students. Now, audio synchronization is not part of your student software, but it is included with your professional software. So I want to just demonstrate real quick what audio synchronization is all about. And so that we are all on the same page, let me describe it to you. What in today's world, and for many years now, notebook computers have had the ability to record sound. What your CAT software does is take that sound and link it to your steno, so that when you go to edit a transcript, you can put your cursor anywhere in that transcript and tell audio to play. As I find my audio, there we go.
What year?
2002. No, wait. January 03. I can take my cursor and put it anywhere else in the transcript and tell it to play. How long have you been married? About 5 years. Since May 98. The difference between somebody taking a tape recorder and setting it out in the middle of the table and recording it is that to find that one word or that number that you want to verify or that address, you're sitting there fast forwarding through 4 hours of a proceeding. Instead, with a court reporter, because you write steno and it's linked to your steno, you simply put your cursor anywhere in that transcript and tell it to play. Now, can you rely on audio synchronization? The answer is no. Never, ever, ever rely on your audio, because if you didn't hear it, chances are it didn't hear it. You still have to be the best reporter you possibly can, and you still have to control your environment. But what audio does in today's world is help ensure that you're producing the best possible transcript you can by simply being able to verify numbers and addresses. And was that really supposed to be a period at the end of that question because they made a statement instead of answered or asked a question, and stuff like that. So many reporters that are some of the best reporters I have ever had the pleasure of knowing would not sit down and do a proceedings without audio synchronization. In addition to the fact that your CAT software, when you're doing real time, records audio, our professional writer, the Diamante, also records audio. They are two separate files. They do not interfere with each other. The reasoning behind having audio on the writer as well as in your computer is if anything happens to the audio file in your computer, you have a double backup of audio on the writer. And if for some reason today you cannot use your computer for real time, you have everything on your Diamante that you need to be able to record that proceedings as well as read back, page up and down, everything on the writer. And when you read that file into Case Catalyst, it automatically takes the audio with it, syncs it up perfectly as if you had done it in real time. So you have the best of both worlds. You have a notebook computer that records audio, and you have a writer that records audio. And that's my take on audio synchronization. Any questions there? Yes, no? Okay. That was my plan of what I wanted to kind of go over with you as far as Case Catalyst and give you a little taste of what Case Catalyst has to offer. Does anybody have something else they would like to see before we move on to writers?
If it does, you can unmute yourself or you can raise your flag or anything. Nope, I think we're good.
Okay.
That was great. That was very good.
I hope that helps. What I'm going to do first is for Rebecca, I'm going to pull up a wave writer for you, and if she wants me to show something else, she can. So I think Rebecca's going to talk to you about our student writer and what it has to offer and pricing, and then I'll talk a little bit about a Diamante.
Okay. Okay, thanks, Terry. The Wave is our student writer. It is a paperless writer. It's going to have the same look and feel as our professional writer. You're still going to be able to adjust the tension and the keystroke to what you're comfortable with. It doesn't have quite all the same features as the Diamante, but most of the features you're not going to need just yet as a student. You're going to be able to see your steno notes on your screen. And what I've seen a lot of students do is then they use their real-time cable, which is included with the Wave, and then do two windows on their computer screen so they can see steno notes and English notes side by side if they want to. The Wave is as I said, is a paperless writer. You no longer have the expense and mess of storing paper or ink cartridges. It's also going to have a very light touch, so that's going to help you with building speed and building accuracy, as well as it's going to help reduce the likelihood of injuries to your hands and wrists when you are writing. It does have a 50-page memory capacity um, as well. Um, but basically, it's going to come with the real-time cable that connects the writer to your computer. It's going to come with a tripod that you can adjust the tilt on the writer so that it is you can adjust it to your comfort level. It's going to come with the jetpack, with the carrying strap, as well as come with the rolling backpack. Right now, we have an amazing special with the Wave for students. If you buy the Wave brand new for $14.95, you get the Student Case Catalyst software for free, which is a $495 savings. So if you are at the earlier stages of writing, it's a great opportunity to get both the writer and the software in your hands at a great price. We also have rent-to-own options on both the software and the writers if you want to kind of take things in smaller bites. Does anybody have questions about the Wave or anything like that?
What do you guys have a stance as far as when a student should think student writer as opposed to professional writer, when that change should be made?
Usually what's the cool thing is when you do have the Wave is you can trade it in towards the purchase of your professional writer and get money. So it's a great investment when you start with this and you're going to get money towards it. Usually we recommend that students start looking at a professional writer, probably right around 180 is usually the guideline I've heard a lot of students use.
Let me unmute Glenn for a sec. Go ahead, Glenn.
Let's see. Well, I have two questions up there. One was, what was the difference between auto archive and I think it's either auto save or auto backup? I can't remember. And the other was about the Wave. Not too sure how test mode works.
The test mode
Right.
for the Wave?
Right.
As far as, like, I guess I don't understand. What would you be testing?
Well, if you're, go ahead.
I can address that.
Okay, thanks.
On the Wave Writer and also on the Diamante, there is a mode called test mode. And what it does when you put it in test mode, on the screen there's a red banner that goes around the entire screen, which lets the proctors know that you have put your writer in test mode. And the on the Wave, your notes are not being stored anywhere, not in memory, not anywhere on the writer itself. So if you're going to use test mode on the Wave, you must, and I repeat that, must be hooked up to your computer doing real time. Otherwise, I would never use test mode on a Wave because it's not being stored anywhere. So you go back to wherever you're going to produce the transcript, you have nothing to read into your software to actually produce it. The Diamante is a little bit different in that the Diamante has 3 different storage areas. It has 2 SD cards and internal memory. So your notes are going to 3 different locations on the writer. So when you go to take a test, whether it be a state test or real-time test, or even a test at school, they don't want you walking out of that test room with the notes stored in 3 different locations. So when you have the Diamante in test mode, it's actually only being stored on one of the data cards. That's it. It's not being stored on the backup card or the internal memory. And again, there's a red banner around the screen. So when the proctors are rocking the room, especially looking at people using Waves or Diamantes, they instantly know that you have your writer in test mode. They actually collect the SD cards at the end of the test and give you a new one that's blank so that no one walks out with the test. And that's what test mode is all about. Hope that helps.
It does. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the Wave? And I'll move on real quickly to the Diamante.
Well, I did have that one about auto archive and auto backup or auto save, whichever one it was for case.
For case, your document as you're editing is automatically being saved every so many seconds. So if for some reason you exit a transcript incorrectly, we're still going to save it. If your computer crashes or whatever, hopefully your hard drive isn't down because that doesn't do any good. But for any reason you exit out of the transcript, it's automatically saving in the background. And the other one you said archive save. What did you say?
I think it's auto archive.
Auto archive. That
Mm-hmm.
one I'm not sure, to be honest with you.
I think I
I
saw
know
it in
what you're
managed
thinking.
jobs there.
This. You're talking this
Right.
auto archive. Again, that's where if you exit out of something, or even if you don't, it's automatically saving things.
Wow.
So I can come in here and clean this out anytime I want, but it's automatically saving. That's what auto archive is. We want to protect you in any way we possibly can. So from you accidentally making a mistake, which happens all the time, I get calls. Even though I'm not support, I will get calls from crime reporters that have screwed something up so bad, and usually we can go find it in the auto archive. So we're trying to protect you as much as we can.
That's a good thing.
That's a very good thing. Yes. Okay. I'm going to pull up my little
One
presentation.
second, Terry. I see one more question about the wave, and they asked about the credit. I don't have a guaranteed credit amount when you trade in. It depends on the specials at the time, but you would definitely get a trade-in amount. With the student software, you would get a $495 credit off the retail price of the professional software. Okay, I just saw that question come up, Terry. Go ahead.
Okay. So I'm briefly, just kind of because we're not showing you a Diamante, I want you to get a feel for what it looks like. It looks very similar to the Wave, except for the fact that has so many more features to it. We build the Wave so we can keep the cost down for a student in school, but you still have the most amazing touch. And that is why people are moving to Waves and moving to Diamantes, is the touch. What reporters tell me day in and day out is they can write longer, faster, with way less fatigue. And here's the big word, way more accurate. Because if you're writing more accurate, you're spending less time editing. And that's the key to all of this. So with the Wave or the Diamante, you still have the same amazing touch with the ability to adjust that touch any way you want. So here's the screen on the Diamante. This is one view where I've got the English and the steno. I can change that view to all English, all steno, or I could actually have brief it up on my writer if I so choose. Up here at the top, it's giving you some information. It's got a little gas gauge for how much I have left in my battery, how much room I have on my SD card, audio synchronization, whether that's working, approximately how many strokes. So if you're writing 225 words a minute, it's going to tell you up here. Approximately how many pages. So if you just have your writer today and the attorney asks you for an estimate of how many pages are going to be in this transcript, you can give them an estimate. Down here, these menus correspond with the buttons. So I can search for my last cue and read back. I can J-define on the writer if I so choose, because I don't have my computer here. And there's just lots of things you can actually do on the writer itself. And I just kind of wanted you to get the feel for what the screen looks like. Again, another view of the document. You can have the text. I can't change the font on the steno, but I can change the font and the text of the English. So if I like to see more text on the screen, I can have a smaller font. If I am blind like I am, I need a bigger font. You can definitely change that to what you want. It's pointing out here that the screen goes from 0 to 65 degrees. So it leans back. That's really nice if you're in a room where the light is coming in a window and it's shining right on your screen, to be able to adjust that screen so I can see it easily. Really helps a lot. Let's see what else I got here. It folds flat for protection when you store it in your case. But this is my officials in court love this, so they're taking a break. Or even in a deposition, you don't want anybody messing with your writer or seeing what's on your writer. You can actually fold that screen down. It doesn't shut the machine off at all, and nobody can see what it is or write on your keyboard. So again, just another one of those cool protection things. These two dials you're looking at control the depth and the tension. So I can raise the depth of the keys or I can lower the depth so I have a very, very shallow stroke. And I can also adjust the stiffness to the keys. I have many reporters that like what they call a rebound to the keys. So I would adjust the tension to be a little bit tighter so I get more of a rebound on the keys. If I don't care about that, then I'm going to adjust the tension on the Diamante to a very, very light stroke. The idea between a shallower stroke and a lighter stroke is you're not working so hard. Those of you right now as a student that are using paper writers, even if you've had these writers shimmed, you still have to go down to advance that paper, even if you've taken the paper out of the machine. You're still working way harder than you would ever work on a Diamante or a Wave. And if you ever get the opportunity to write on one of these things, you will know what I'm talking about instantly. It's amazing. Again, True Stroke is a feature in our Diamante and our Wave that help your translation come out a little bit better. One of the things that I get complaints about from paper writers is stacking. Stacking, and I'm not talking dragging or dropping, I'm talking stacking, when you stack two strokes together. The reason you are stacking is on our traditional machines. When you go down for a stroke, you must come all the way off those keys because the stroke registers on the up. So if you are not lifting your hands all the way up before you go down for the next stroke, you have just stacked. And when you're really pumping along at 200 words a minute, stacking can be a real nemesis for some people because you're just not lifting your hands up far enough. And also on a paper writer, your stroke is so deep. On the Diamante and the Wave, the stroke is over on the bottom. So when I go down for a stroke, can I stack on this machine? Yes. If I hold my left hand down and then come down for my right hand, I just stack. But if I have any movement up, not all the way, but any movement up, it's called direction and velocity. Any movement up, the stroke is over. So what reporters again tell us about the Wave and the Diamante is if they stacked before, their stacking has either been greatly improved or completely eliminated. There's also settings on both writers that you can adjust. It's a timing issue that you can adjust with our support team to help eliminate stacking as well. So you got lots of options there. This is the back of the Diamante. You'll see where that red circle is. That's where you plug in your USB cable for real time. See what else. The next one are the SD cards. These are the same digital cards that you use in your cameras in today's world. These are 4 gig cards. However, the machine supports up to 64 gigs, I believe. So lots and lots of storage. Your audio files are being stored on both SD cards, so you have a double backup audio on the machine itself. There's also internal memory that's about 36,000 pages. Audio is not being stored there, it's just raw steno. So simultaneously, your notes are going to 3 different locations on the writer itself. And if you're hooked up for real time, that's the 4th location that your notes are being stored to. This is where you plug in a microphone, and if you'd like to monitor the audio, you can also plug in a headset. This is really cool in that you can plug in any kind of earbud you want, and as long as it's a straight jack headset. And what it will do is actually amplify the sound. So if you're having a hard time hearing a witness or an attorney and you ask them to speak up and they do for about 2 seconds and then they go back to their normal tones, you can actually plug in a headset and it will amplify the sound for you. You can also play back the audio before you read back, so to speak, if you needed to do that, and nobody would even know what you were doing. So the ability to plug in a microphone and a headset on the Diamante, amplify the sound or play back before you read back is dynamite. Customers love it. We do not build in microphones simply because the closer the microphone is to the writer, the more you're going to pick up the thump, thump, thump of the writer when you write. So peripherals like that we prefer, and think it's better for the reporter to use external ones. And you can also use any brand, any kind that you want. We have two USB ports. The first one I already talked about. That's where your real-time cable goes. The machine, the Wave, and the Diamante come with the USB cable. However, you can go to Walmart to buy a second one. They're not proprietary cables at all. They're straight USB cables. The second USB port is actually used for two reasons. One is to plug in a flash drive if you so choose and back up your file along with your audio file and put that in your pocket as a safety precaution in case anything were to happen to your equipment on the way home, such as getting stolen. You could back that file up for safety. Also, in this case, I just used the writer today. I did not do real time. Instead of taking my SD cards out of the machine and reading the file in and running the risk of leaving that SD card in my computer instead of putting it back in my writer for my next job, I backed it up to my flash drive. I can also read the file into Case Catalyst using the flash drive rather than the backup card. And it makes it a little bit nicer for you. The Diamante will hook up to a computer 3 different ways for real time. First one is straight USB. Cable will come with the writer. Second way is Bluetooth. So it's 2 little USB devices that plug into the writer, and one plugs into the writer, one plugs into your computer and allows you to do real time without a cable. We mainly use Bluetooth devices for reporters on CAT systems other than the Diamante, because the third way, and I don't believe I have, it's talking about battery here, but let's see if I go back. Let me go back a second, guys. Don't know if I'll see this on the screen. No. Right up here, if this machine in the screenshot had it, there would be, you know, on your computer you have that little what do you call it, that triangle to indicate that you're on Wi-Fi. Well, the same thing is on the Diamante. The third way that the Diamante will hook up to your computer for real time is using Wi-Fi technology. The Wi-Fi is built into the motherboard on the Diamante. Right now, Wi-Fi only works with Case Catalyst. The other CAT vendors have not written the interface for it yet, but we have. So I do need to hook up to a router, and when I'm talking Wi-Fi for real time, to hook up my writer to my computer for real time, I am not talking the fact that I have to be on the internet. It has nothing to do with the internet. I can be on the internet, but I don't have to. I'm simply using a Wi-Fi router in a local area network to be able to provide real time from my writer to my computer. That's all I'm talking about. So the ability to do that with the Diamante, whether it be cable, Bluetooth, or Wi-Fi, is amazing. And it depends on your situation. And if a cable from your writer to computer bugs you and you want it cableless, then those are your two options to be able to do that. Back to batteries, it has this writer actually has 3 batteries on it. The one you're seeing back here in the back, get back to where they point a little arrow at it. Come on. Is an 8 to 10 hour battery that pulls in and out, needs to be replaced every couple of years. It also has an internal battery that's good for 7 to 10 hours. And it also has a battery that's good for 10 years that simply handles date and time, because all your files on your SD cards when you close the file out is date and timed, and we want your date and time correct so you can find that file. So there's actually 3 batteries on it. 2 of them are for keeping the machine going. There's recessed handles on the bottom so it's easy to pick up. It's really, really light compared to your machines. And it comes with a tripod that again is really light, 30% less in weight, that does tilt. So it will tilt backwards and forwards for changing the position of the keyboard. Last but not least, how much is this sucker? Well, the Diamante is $51.95. It's, you know, your firstborn child. Right now, we've got a great special running where it's $1,000 off the top. So that brings it down to $41.95 plus shipping and tax, We do deal with finance companies with good credit. We can get you financed. And the special we have running until the end of the year is no payments. You can get your Diamante today and no payments until January 2015. Any questions on the Diamante? Oh, one thing I forgot. Sorry, this is the most important thing. It comes in 4 lovely colors: black, blue, red, and white. The black, blue, and red are transparent, and you actually can see the inner working lights of the Diamante. It's very, very high tech, very, very cool. But you have 3 colors to pick from. On the Wave, you only have a gray.
Real quick, Terry, do you know, will the microphone port work with Apple iPhone earbuds? The
As long as I don't know, I've never used one, but as long as it's a straight jack, it should. I'm thinking.
it's kind of unique.
It's not a USB microphone. In other words, I can't use a USB microphone on the Diamante. I can on your computer, but not on the Diamante. It's just a straight jack mic.
Okay, Lisa said
or
yeah,
earbuds.
you can use the Apple earbuds. Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
But not in the mic port. Okay.
Well, never mind then.
Any other questions?
Questions? Anybody can type anything in, unmute yourself, raise the flag, anything. Going once, going twice.
Well, I hope we sparked your interest in what Stenograph has to offer, and it was wonderful doing this presentation with you guys. I hope it, I tend to talk really, really fast, so I hope I didn't leave any of you behind, and because usually I can see you and I can tell if I'm losing you or I've got you. This one is a little tough.
Deborah wants to know again how much of the current amounts costs.
The case catalyst, again, we've got a great special on professional case catalyst running right now. It varies from area to area, but usually if you're buying it with the Diamante, you can get case catalyst for $24.95, which is a huge discount. The Diamante is $51.95 plus shipping and tax, less than $1,000.
And the Wave, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
And the Wave is $14.95, and that includes the free student software. If you're interested in that, if you're interested in just the Case Catalyst student software, it's $4.95, and we do have rent-to-own options on both of those if you are interested in breaking your payments down. And there is no credit check on that.
Is there a trade-in or anything from Wave to the next model?
Yes, there is a trade-in. If you trade the Wave in towards the Diamante, there is definitely a trade-in. The amount is going to vary. It's not a set amount. And there is a trade-in if you upgrade from the student software to the professional software of $4.95 off the retail price. So again, you just want to check and see what the best deal is. If there's a better sale price, you'd want to take advantage of that.
Got it. Cool. Questions? Anybody have questions? On the Wave, while it's in test mode, does the 50-page limit still apply?
Yes, I believe so. Right, Terry?
Yes.
Yes, it does.
Okay, last opportunity. Questions, comments, complaints, praise, anything? No? I'm going to unmute everybody real quick here. That's the wrong way. That's okay. 1 sec. Okay, everybody's unmuted now. Well, I want to thank the two of you very much for coming by and helping with all this information. It's very valuable. Like I said, I'm going to share this online once I either edit it down or read whatever. But I thank you guys for coming a lot. And if they want to contact you, how would they go about doing that?
This is Rebecca. My number is 800-323-4247, and my extension is 5563. Or you can always email me at R as in Rebecca, B as in boy, OEH, M as in Mary, at stenograph.com. Terry?
because you are all located in different parts of the United States, I'm assuming I'm in Northern California, so I just
Oh, hang on one second, Terry. Hold on. Okay, Terry, go ahead.
I cover Northern California and the Reno, Nevada areas, so it might be best that you contact Rebecca, and she will actually hook you up, depending on where you live, with the rep in your area, should you want to talk about professional software and writers.
Great. Thank you once again. And we'll probably see you guys online. Of course, you can all join the Stenograph Facebook group and all that kind of stuff. And
You are very welcome. It was a pleasure.
Yes, thank you for inviting us.
sure. All right, everybody have a great day.
You too.